Hey, and welcome to The Office Field Guide. My name's Chris, and I'm reviewing every episode of The Office ever, and today, we're looking at basketball.
What? You gotta be kidding me!
Basketball was written and directed by showrunner Greg Daniels. It originally aired on April 19th, 2005, and was viewed by 5 million people, and currently has an 8.4. Okay, we're gonna get more on that 8.4 later. And your basketball trivia is, what NBA legend does Roy call Jim? Answer the trivia first, spot out the Easter egg, and he might be kind of hard to find in this episode. It's gotta be the small Stanley, not when I show this clip. And don't forget to leave the best emoji sequence summing up next week's episode, and you'll get your name in that field guide. Today, we're gonna be diving into the heart of competition.
Oh, how much does it hurt? How much does it hurt?
Look at some interesting writing.
It's just boom, boom, boom.
And I'm gonna confess my real feelings about this episode.
That's so nice.
And be warned, there's gonna be some serious spoilers ahead.
Warning! 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 Warning!
And with that, let's get to this tip-off.
Tip it my way, you're sleeping in the car.
Stanley! I understand nothing.
Okay, basketball, there really isn't another episode like basketball. It's still in season 1 zone of production writing, yet it really starts breaking through to find its own hard-hitting humor.
I'll do it.
Oh, yuck. That's worse than you playing.
Famously, the idea of this one was born out of a deleted scene from the pilot episode, one that I'm not really sure has ever seen the light of day, correct me if I'm wrong. So let me give you some context about my journey with this episode, so you know where I'm coming from. I didn't start watching The Office until sometime in season 3, though I did have friends who became obsessed with it along the way. When I went back to rewatch season 1, especially this episode, Michael just rubbed me so wrong that I began to have a distaste and a near hatred for Michael Scott from this episode. Mostly because I've known Michael Scott's back in the day, and because I think I overly empathize with everyone who falls victim to Michael's issues.
Game over, game over. That is it. I'm sorry.
So this time, I forced myself to watch this episode with new, unbiased eyes, as much as that's actually possible. And I'll say this, I don't hate it anymore.
I just don't like it at all, and it's terrible.
Saying a lot there, Chris. There is even a moment in the end of this episode where Michael almost completely redeems himself.
Screw corporate. Nobody's coming in tomorrow. You have the day off. Like, coming in an extra day is gonna prevent us from being downsized. Have a good weekend.
And we get a glimpse of what the series is headed for in the future. But for now, there's surprisingly a lot to enjoy in this episode. First, during the first months of the pandemic last year, The Ringer made a video breaking down this game in their patented basketball analysis style. It's pretty great. I'll put the link in the description. Also famously, the basketball game was almost entirely improvised, meaning that they had the cast play basketball for 2 straight days of shooting. And then tasked some poor editor, probably David Rogers, but I'm not entirely sure, to make a narrative out of this. I love editing, I really do. I'm pretty sure I'd be up to the task for this, but it's so much work. Putting this whole thing would be like getting handed 17 different jigsaw puzzles and being told, make something out of this.
Get to work.
I can't because there's no clue.
The puzzle is the clue.
While much of this game was improvised, there were certain events that were scripted, like the jump ball, Michael's free throw,
Oh, come on! What is wrong with me today?
Roy hitting Jim in the mouth,
Whoa, 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 whoa! Foul! Naked aggression!
which that one was scripted, but that specific hit, that wasn't planned, but they just went with it.
That was not scripted.
And the final outcome of the game was also planned.
Whoever was ahead won.
That was you.
It was us, really? I didn't know.
I could tell that in a lot of ways, the showrunners probably looked back on this episode with fondness. They paid homage to it in Michael's last episode.
Flippity flip! Really?
And speaking of the cinematography, I can't tell if I like this shot or not. It's definitely unique to the series, and I think it's a clever way to show a divide by framing this object in the middle. And we never really did find out what happened in that pickup basketball game either.
When I let him come to my
I
pickup game,
apologize for that.
I vouch for you.
Michael,
I vouch for you in front of Todd Packer, Dwight.
Also, Dwight's game time introduction is extremely well done.
Okay, we'll be skins.
Come on, Dwight.
What? Should I on or off?
On, just put it on.
And he does explain who this chick is in the next episode in a deleted scene.
She's also a survivor of monster rape.
I also love all the random Scranton stuff all over the office. Jim mentions a local place, and it's even on his t-shirt. And Michael's still assigning out crap jobs to Dwight for scapegoat reasons.
They're trying to make me an scapegoat.
And I think it's safe to say that Greg Daniels and or Michael Schur hate jazz.
Basketball is like jazz, you know? You're kind of doop-a-doo, doop-a-doo. It's all downbeat, it's in the pocket. It's like,
What does a bean mean?
Someone please explain it to Cap.
This episode does an interesting thing though, when it looks at the role of distractions like sporting events and how they keep us distracted from the problems of real life, like the great coliseums of the past.
Thanks.
We all have problems, right? They probably don't look the same. Maybe dog barks too much. Maybe neighbors are too loud. You can't get the love of your life to break up with her fiance. You work with this guy.
Yeah! In your face! Yeah, huh?
You know what?
And for this guy.
In your face!
I honestly don't know how you can work with that jackass, and that other jackass, and that new jackass.
He's talking about Michael, Dwight, and Andy.
Oh yeah, I understood.
And when we liken Michael to a Caesar
I am in his gay
who created the games for distractions and for loyalty. Thought being that if you could get your subjects' heads out of their day-to-day life full of hardships and troubles, most of the time caused from you, yourself, you could potentially be saving yourself from a future uprising. And there was a lot more that went into those kind of games at the Coliseums and stuff, but the idea of athletic feats of strength and competition have persisted and are almost in every culture known to man. There's just something about showing off what you can do that we humans can't get enough of. So once again, in season 1, we just get a look at the modern office, in which most of our days are spent sat down at a computer, full of corporate nonsense, and a healthy dose of seasonal depression on top of that.
Seasonal affective disorder, aka SAD. That sounds like a very real thing, Toby.
It is real. Thank you for saying that.
And you have the very reason why I believe professional sports are so popular around the world. I mean, here in the States, the Super Bowl is the most watched televised event of the year. And in other parts of the world, you guys like a sport where they kick a ball around for an hour and a half.
Oh my God!
And the point is, the competitions, they don't really matter. And we all know it. Barring some athletes, owners, staff, and maybe some sports betting folks, we're all just gonna wake up the next day after the competition to little to no change. Cities who win major competitions throw these giant parades and celebrate their athletes through the streets. Why? Because distraction. Distractions can be a good thing. Like I said, watching your favorite YouTuber instead of doing your homework? Yeah. I hope you're doing that now. Finish this video first and, maybe do your homework. Distractions in those cases can be a good thing because you can clear your head, it gives you time to unwind, and you can think clearly. There's definitely something about burning energy that can be cathartic too.
Oh, how much does it hurt? How much does it hurt?
But distractions can be a dangerous thing too. Sometimes life is hard to deal with, and instead of dealing with life, we just focus on other things. The problem is, our problems don't disappear while we're distracted. Jim's still not with Pam.
Yeah, let's get you into a tub.
Yeah, let's get you in a tub.
And no fancy basketballing's gonna fix that. Michael's still gonna have to downsize at some point.
I'm gonna kill myself!
And now his staff is going to have to come in on a Saturday.
Like coming in an extra day is gonna prevent us from being downsized. Have a good weekend.
The best thing we seem to be able to do in life is take the distractions when it makes sense and buckle down and do the hard stuff when it makes sense. Too much of either is probably not a good thing. But with that, let's rate this thing.
This is the worst.
It's weird. I have friends, multiple friends actually, who recently told me that this episode,
In your face!
this episode, is their favorite episode of the entire series. The entire series.
That the best thing? Really? Gugh.
Normally, I have a pretty firm grasp on an episode, why I like it, why I don't like it, and then I just run with it. But something about the 5,200 people on IMDb who rated this an average of 8.4, the fact that the show itself calls back to the basketball episode several times, and the overall sentiments that I've had from the Office fandom around me, I had to give basketball another shot.
Dwight, I was open.
As I alluded to earlier, I wasn't a fan of this episode at all. And in some ways, this is a bizarro, weird look at what The Office might have been if that change in season 2 had never happened.
Oh, that's delicious. I love it.
This is a bleak and dark and uncomfortable look at the Scranton office. But there are some really good parts, mostly revolving around the game itself, obviously. Stanley's dribble is undoubtedly iconic.
What? You gotta be kidding me!
I mean, in thinking of Easter eggs for this season, that's immediately what came to mind.
Secret weapon!
Michael's got some spotlights here too. This line, while probably something the show's gonna get canceled for in the future.
Yeah, I bet you would. Just try not to be too gay on the court.
That was improvised by Carell on the spot, and this look by Krasinski was spot on.
There it is.
And in a long list of things that I quote almost every day, I say this almost every single time I play Rocket League.
Come on! What is wrong with me today?
And I did see that Carell accidentally made his first long shot. They had to redo it, of course, because it wasn't funny that he made it. Okay, and Michael's thrusting. I mean, that's something most of my generation did in middle school, so kind of gets a chuckle. And this free throw, though, this is what slow burn comedy is. A slow but building setup to a punchline that hits the mark. And I love it. I think it's a prime example. But the rest of this episode, it never really gets there for me.
Stanley, of course.
I'm sorry?
What do you play, center?
Why, of course? What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
Look, humor is subjective, and I get it. If you think that this is the pinnacle of The Office's humor, then who am I to tell you that you're wrong? That's not what I'm here to do.
No, you're wrong.
I'm just gonna say this. Is this episode better than Diversity Day? According to IMDb, it is. What about...
Did I stutter?
What about The Convict?
Don't drop the soap. Don't drop the soap.
Michael, please.
So there's something more that drives people's affinity for this episode. And I gotta be honest with you.
I don't get it. I'm sorry. I don't get it.
Right, so there's the fandom who love this episode, yet when I ask for specific thoughts on why this episode is the bee's knees, I get nothing. Even browsing through the IMDb reviews, there's a lot of generic things spoken about it. Guys, I didn't come here to die on this hill. I don't care enough. Having rewatched it several times for this review, I did get a better sense of appreciation for it. All up, I am giving this one a 3 out of 5. And that's probably gracious in my opinion. I know I say this during every episode, but please, please, please overthink this one. If you love the episode, please explain to me in the comments why, or hop onto the Discord and tell me why I'm an idiot for not getting it.
No, then you're an idiot.
And while you're there, don't forget about the comment contest, the emoji sequence for next week's episode, which is Hot Girl. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.